Hello grade 10s, welcome back to another video. So on today's video we will be doing business sectors. The three sectors in the economy is what we'll be doing today. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to the channel, and if you have any problems with the following subjects on screen: mathematics, business studies, physical sciences or economics, you can talk to us on WhatsApp and we'll add you to a WhatsApp group. Well, you need to pay 300 rand per month to keep in the group. It's an upfront payment and you pay 50 rand registration. So yeah, such you will get videos, question papers, notes for that specific subject that you struggle with. So it costs 300 rand per subject, and if you want to be part of that, well, send an email or WhatsApp us on WhatsApp. We'll be glad to help you navigate your schoolwork. I can know it can be such a hassle when sometimes you don't understand your teachers, but we've got a solution for you that works. Yeah, don't forget to use that, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to the channel. Share this video with your friends. If you're enjoying these videos, please like. The more you like this kind of videos, the more we recreate them. So like this video so that you can see more of them. Yeah, and check out my term 1 test past examination paper if you're trying to revise, but those will be coming in April. So look out for past question papers in business studies, economics and so forth in April. Now, without wasting any more of your time, let's get into this. Now, in the economy, we have three sectors of the economy. We have the primary sector, the secondary sector, and the tertiary sector. Just like in school, we have primary, secondary, and tertiary. So the sectors of the economy have been grouped in that same manner. Okay, so we have where let's say we have a complete cell phone. We have there are certain steps that were taken for that cell phone to be at your disposal. Okay, we had the primary sector whereby the parts of that phone were extracted from nature. We had the secondary sector whereby the phone was put together to make it a finished product, and we have a tertiary sector whereby now the phone is being sold to the consumer as a finished product. Okay, so there are steps that have to be followed for you to find a finished product that you get in stores and enjoy using. So it went through different sectors of the economy, and employment was created by those different stages of getting a phone into a finished product, or whatever product that had been manufactured, went through the manufacturing process, has went through the three sectors of the economy. So in the primary sector, that's where we extract raw materials from nature. Okay, so when we're doing wood, that's where we would go and cut off trees. And then in the secondary sector is where we turn raw material, which is trees, into finished products. So it's a manufacturing process in the secondary sector. So here, that's where the wood will be, the trees will be turned into wood. And then in the tertiary sector, that's where we found tables, the finished product tables in different stores. So this table, for it to be at your disposal in a convenient store, went through different stages in the economy for it to be where it is now. Okay, so we acknowledge those two previous steps that it had to go through in order to be available to you as a table. So in the tertiary sector, they sell services or finished product. So it's in the tertiary sector. These three sectors in the economy can either be formal or informal. So a formal sector includes businesses that form a part of the country's GDP as they are registered to pay tax. So everybody who is registered is paying their tax, and they're able to be registered that they contribute to the gross domestic product of that country. We did that in economics term 1. I hope you still remember your work. And then informal sector includes businesses that do not form part of the GDP and do not pay tax. So in simpler terms, the informal ones are not even registered business. A woman selling fat cakes by the corner, she goes through the process of getting flour, mixing everything, and selling a finished product, but she's not registered. So she's not contributing towards GDP because she's not paying tax. She's merely starting the business for survival. And in most times, she's not even looking at sustainability and growing the business and preserving it for future generations. So those are the sectors of the economy. The primary, secondary, and tertiary sector are known as sectors of the economy. And then sectors can either be formal or informal. And then we have something called business sectors. We also have public and private sector, sorry. So the public sector are all businesses or institutions owned and managed by the state, which is the government. We call those public sectors, like the post office, the South African Airways, we have an airline as South Africa, so forth. So every business that belongs to the state, it's a private, it's part of the public sector. And then for private sector are all businesses owned by private individuals or a group of individuals not linked to the state. So everything that is not government is private. So what is meant by primary, secondary, and tertiary sector, as I have stated before, is that in the primary sectors, activities in the primary sector include harvesting, collecting or extractions of raw material from nature, from natural environments, okay, from the ground, from the sea, from fresh water to plant sources. So anything that we're taking from nature, when you go and fish in a sea or a river, that's part of the primary sector. So you're extracting whatever that is naturally there, okay. And then in the secondary, so the primary sector can be classified into agricultural product, fisheries, forestry, and mining. Now the secondary sector processes raw materials from the primary sector. So whatever we get in the primary sector, when we are processing it, changing its original form, that is done in the secondary sector, okay. So process raw materials from the primary sector and supplies it to the tertiary sector. So input is used to manufacture products by means of a production process. The result is called output. So we put in something, we put in something and we take out something. So manufacturing can include manufacturing of semi-finished products that are sold to manufacturers or to consumers. And then semi-finished products that can be used in future production of goods or finished products, such as metal sheets used to make tin cans, okay. And then in the tertiary sector, activities include bringing the product from the secondary sector to the end consumer. So transport of people, again, is transport of people, communications, and many other services such as education, health, banking, and administration are part of the tertiary sector. They are selling a finished product. So, and then there are classifications of various industries, nature of industries and production. So in the primary sector, we have agriculture, we have crop farming. Agriculture is animal husbandry, and then we have crop farming in agriculture, okay. And then we also have fishery, we have forestry, and we have mining. That is the primary sector. And then in the secondary sector, we have manufacturing concerns use the natural resources produced in the primary sector to manufacture a product in the secondary sector. So whatever that has been brought from mining, fishery, forestry, crop farming, and agriculture is taken to the secondary sector and transformed to be sold in the tertiary sector, okay. So inputs are processed into outputs, is still the same thing. And then in the tertiary sector, business which provide all services that make it possible to deliver products from the secondary sector produces to the end. Businesses which provide all services that make it possible to deliver products from the secondary sector produces to the end consumers. So there are businesses who get products from the secondary sector to the consumers. Those are businesses in the tertiary sector. So it includes wholesalers, retailers, suppliers of electricity, professional services such as doctors and restaurants. Auxiliary services are that part of the tertiary sector which provides services but to other businesses rather than to end consumer. Okay, so auxiliary services provide a service to businesses rather than end consumer. Know that they can ask that as a true or false question. And then for auxiliary services, the services bridges the gap. So there's transport in auxiliary service, storage, sorting, grading and standardization, whereby you hire someone to grade your goods. That is in auxiliary service. And then financing, insurance and actual sales. So you can read the descriptions where it's the gap that it bridges. So transport bridges the special gap and therefore the distance between the producer and the consumer. So whoever is going to take the products from the secondary sector to the consumer, the person who is transporting those goods is giving an auxiliary service. So the difference between the formal and informal sector. So the formal business sector is all businesses which are formally registered to operate under an acknowledged form of business ownership. So forms of business ownership include companies, partnerships, close corporations, or sole proprietors. So in grade 10, if you're doing accounting, you're already doing sole proprietorship. So we will do forms of ownership later. Not sure whether it's this term or next term, but we will deal with forms of ownership. Now, the purpose of businesses in this sector is to make profit. Okay, their aim is to make profit. Businesses in the formal sector, and businesses in the formal sector are registered with SARS, which is the South African Revenue Services, for tax and contribute to the GDP of the country. They are registered with the Department of Labor to pay UIF, the Unemployment Insurance Fund, and most businesses need to have their books audited if you are in a formal sector. So businesses in this sector have fixed premises and offer employment to more than one worker. We are in the formal sector. In the informal sector, the purpose of businesses in the informal sector is survival. So you're just starting this business because you're struggling and you just want to survive. So you are in the informal sector. These businesses are not registered and do not contribute to the GDP of the country, but they do put food on the table. So examples are hawkers, street vendors, house sitters, handyman services. And illegal activities such as drug dealing and illegal shebeens also fall into this category of informal sector. So informal businesses should by law declare income for tax and register employees. It is difficult to get loans or credit facilities because there is no official record of income. This limits growth. So if you are in the informal sector, you didn't register your business, you are not able to grow because even funding does not fund informal businesses because they are not registered. It's very, very difficult to get funding. So in Unit 3, we'll have the difference between public and private sector. So in the public sector includes all businesses and institutions governed and owned by the state on one of the three levels: in national government, which is the South African Airways national government, the provincial government, for example, Wesgo, and then the local government, for example, Golden Arrows bus service. So some departments do not operate as businesses. Okay, the departments in this sector exist to meet the demand of social and civil rights such as healthcare, care, education, and protection. So the police is not a business. The state did not start a business by having a police station or having a hospital. It's just a service to render a civil rights service to people. So may example include public schools, public clinics, public hospital, public museums and libraries, and the South African police force. Okay, the motive of the public sector businesses is to make profit but offer a service. The motive of the public sector business is not to make profit but to offer a service. They just want to make sure that people have services but not to make profit. So funding is generated by tax, whatever businesses pay as tax, the government use to fund these services. So the private sector includes all businesses that are privately owned. If you now, as whoever, you start a business, that business will be in the private sector because it's owned by you and not the government. So examples include businesses owned privately as sole traders, partnerships, or companies with a profit motive. So the businesses are focused to meet the demands of consumers, but the main thing of private sector is to make a profit, while public sector does not focus on making a profit but delivering a service. So businesses in this sector that do not operate to make profit are NGOs, non-governmental organization or non-profit organization, whereby they do charge you, like let's say it's a tutor who has registered a non-profit organization. They charge you for tutoring service, but their aim is not actually to make a profit, but they just use the money to run the business. Okay, so some services from the public sector are repeated in this sector, such as education, healthcare, housing, and could be of better quality than that of government services. So the public sector is more efficient than the public sector. Now here are short questions. You can just pause this video, write this, and then I will show you answers. Just pause it, write, and then you can look at the answers. So here are the answers. This is 2.2, formal sector and informal sector, public sector, then that's 2.3, 2.4, 2.5. So thank you very much guys for watching. Until the next video.